Here's a guy on Instagram saying he's suing Division of Child Support or the state or somebody for $25 million. There's a whole bunch of people in the thread saying that child support was deemed unconstitutional. And they're so dumb and retarded. They didn't even read the stuff that they're talking about. This is why you guys need to read stuff. And stop just listening to rumors or half-assed read stuff. This is what's wrong with the people who are all sexually aroused every time they hear child support is unconstitutional. They hop on a bandwagon. See, you can talk all the gossip and rumors you want. All that matters is when you go to court, what they actually rule. If you're innocent of a crime and you get railroaded in court and you have a bad attorney with a bad defense and you don't present certain evidence or don't attack the credibility of witness or impeach a witness, it doesn't matter that you're innocent. If a jury finds you guilty, you don't get to say, well, I'm really actually innocent. The judge doesn't go, oh, okay, sorry to bother you. If you got railroaded, you got railroaded. Or if something is allowed, like child support is unconstitutional. The government's interfering with your family relation and saying transfer money from here to here, and they justify it by saying, oh, it's all about the child. Well, how do they prove that child support supports the child and they do better with child support than without? They don't. They just make a feminist presumption that child support is needed. But let's take a look at how stupid my gender is on this page. So here's Real Wealthy Cash's page on Instagram. This might be the guy who said, there's somebody who hopped in a Lamborghini or something and said Trump is going to get rid of all child support. And then he laughed and he said it was a joke later. That might be this guy. But check out, see, everybody loves talking hot air. I want to see results. I want to see actual stuff. Okay, so I'm suing child support for $25 million. Let's take a look at what he says here.
Just like that. I just filed my $25 million lawsuit. We got our number. We were on and popping, baby. $25 million. They thought it was a game. Now I'm about to show you. I'm exposing child support court for the misconduct and fraud. They have been frauding us. They are issuing orders that are unenforceable. That means they can't be enforced, and they're forcing us to pay the void orders. That's illegal. You can't force somebody to pay under void or fraudulent circumstances. So what they're doing is they don't have proof of service that they served me, which that means they don't have jurisdiction over me.
All they got to do is turn around and serve them correctly if the service failed. So this guy sounds like the child support is fraud asshole who won his case because he wasn't the father of the kid, not because of service. That guy loves saying, oh, well, the clerk's stamp is different than the county clerk's stamp, and they didn't serve me. The proof of service is defective. Okay, well, they'll just turn around and serve you again. That doesn't make child support itself go away, so this guy's already bullshitting everybody. And then he makes these vague claims about vague stuff. What are you even talking about, dude? Cite some case law or a law or something.
But being that they know they don't have jurisdiction over me, they force me to come to court by telling me if I don't show up to court, they're going to arrest me or take my license, suspend my license, all a bunch of other threats.
Okay, so, Family Court of State in New York. Okay, so, this is where they're crossing the line and due process and stuff kicks in. This guy is suing Department of Social Services as one defendant. So I'm wondering if he has an administrative order. The administrative orders are unconstitutional. But he's sitting here talking about, look, the Supreme Court has already ruled on child support in contempt cases that you don't have a right to a public defender. And why? Because they say child support is so important that we're gonna set aside that person's constitutional right to an attorney. So they basically are shitting and crapping on people. It's kind of like Plessy versus Ferguson. Separate but equal is equal for black folks. And for 70 years, the racist climate allowed that. So we're going to have another 70 years of this bullcrap being allowed, possibly. Unless this guy gets lucky and he has something in here. But I'm not seeing any substance here. But I want to get to the comments of these stupid, retarded idiots in the comments also. But look at what he's saying here.
So now when I show up to court, they tell me, oh, because you showed up to court, that granted us jurisdiction. But the law states that a parent doesn't grant jurisdiction. You have to prove jurisdiction through paperwork. Your paperwork is your proof of service. They don't have a proof of service on you. They don't have a case on you. This $25 million lawsuit is up. Mark my words now, this is going to be groundbreaking. I'm going to definitely make history with this lawsuit. When I win this lawsuit, it's going to change the whole trajectory of how child support works and how it's programmed
Okay, so I have a little lack of confidence in him since he's talking about the trajectory. Is that a transsexual trajectory of something? Like you're pointing to something, but you're pointing with a lisp or a limp wrist or something? It makes a trajectory. I hope he will change the trajectory, but it's not seeming too confident. He's just talking a bunch of hot air. He filed a lawsuit. Let's wait and see. Hopefully he's right. But if he's only talking about jurisdiction and proof of service, that's one issue. That doesn't make the child support constitutionality of child support or that make a finding that it's unconstitutional. Now, there's a bunch of arguments that it's unconstitutional. If I was a non-custodial parent, I'd probably be taking my case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I'd be making logical arguments. I wouldn't be going in front of the U.S. Supreme Court or any appellate court or any lawsuit and talking about the transsexual trajectory of stuff and call it trajectory, though. But let's take a look at the comment. So here's a stupid jackass. Oh, dat bull. My man, the Supreme Court already ruled that child support is unconstitutional. No, they didn't. The Minnesota Supreme Court ruled that the division of child support, the administrative side, is unconstitutional. But that doesn't make the courts go away, that where we vote in judges. We have laws that allow child support to be passed, or that pass child support laws. So our constitutional republic, we voted in judges, we voted in legislators who pass laws that say we want child support, and the judges that we vote in have ruled on it. Now, that's the setup of the family courts. And it's technically constitutional, but they're all corrupt, and they're doing a bunch of corrupt, emotional basket case rulings on stuff and rule a certain way. Look at his tie. Didn't have his tie straight. But he's walking out of court, so, let's slide. I wouldn't dress up and wear a suit and tie just to file some paperwork, though. Maybe he dresses clean all the time. I don't know. So let's look at, and then this other guy goes, so he replies to that comment, oh, yeah, my guy, I will cite that in my paperwork. I have Morin versus Torme. That's a case in which this Morin versus Torme is a case where a judge tried to get somebody at the courthouse to spy on another judge because somebody was running against a judge in a voting thing, and the lady didn't want to spy on him, and I think she got fired or retaliated against. And then this case was a reversal that the defendants didn't get summary judgment, which basically means they tried to win the lawsuit, get it dismissed, and they didn't get it dismissed. I have no idea how the hell that applies to child support. Then you have the Queen of Brooklyn saying the Constitution does not mention anything about child support. It also doesn't mention anything about Jim Crow, you stupid jackass, dumbed down, low IQ, low vibration airhead. It mentions things like due process and equitable and things like that. There's a whole bunch. It doesn't say a right to a jury of your peers. That's evolved through case law. See, all these retarded idiots love just talking stupid, idiotic, moronic. And look, so this is a feminist, ugly, fat biatch. Oh, people are trying to avoid child support, take care of their kids is diabolical. Nobody's trying to avoid child support. Give custody to the dad, bitch, because single mothers can't care for kids. They're the biggest child abusers. They let all the molesters in, and they can't take care of the kids on their own, even though they're strong, independent women. So why don't you let the dad do it? He could do it on his own without child support. You lying, hoe-ass, psychotic, evil bitch. And then somebody else got in here. Let me find it. Then you got this stupid low IQ, low vibration idiot who can't read at a first grade level. He said, hey, also check out Georgia Department of Human Services versus Sweat, 2003. That case says that, so here's that guy who didn't even read something, but he posts about the case. That case, Georgia versus Sweat, in the Court of Appeals, they said, oh, the Georgia guidelines are unconstitutional. Then they appealed, I guess the state appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, we reversed the Court of Appeals. They are constitutional. My gender is so stupid. And then you got low IQ, retarded idiots like this. And then you got a psycho, evil, psychotic feminist bitch that thinks if child support is deemed unconstitutional, that means dads don't want to pay for their kids. But this woman thinks women should get paid for having sex with a man or having a kid, which is a form of prostitution. The child support system didn't exist until several decades ago. She's full of shit.